Hello, people. Welcome back to the show. It's the Gooner Tokes. Football's back. We've had a bit of a break for Arsenal anyway. There were some Carling Cup games, or Carabao Cup, sorry, showing my age there. Carabao Cup games midweek. We've got ours next week. So we had a bit of a break. So hopefully the players are recharged, ready to go. Big game, big 3 points required. You know what to do before we get started. Like, share, subscribe, all that lovely stuff. Do me a favor, help me grow the channel. And yeah, let's get right into it, cuz we got another 3 points that we are playing for. And we need to stretch that lead again at the top of the league if we possibly can. And it's a big game against Everton. So, what's going to go on with the starting 11? Who do I think is going to play? What do I think the score is going to be? We're going to get into all of that. But it's a big weekend. We actually have the late game on the Saturday. So actually, if City win, they're playing earlier than us. I'm going to do my weekend preview for all the other games. But if City win, they go top, right? Then the pressure is on us. And yeah, we got to perform. And it's not going to be easy against an Everton side who have been pretty good. They lost their last game against Chelsea, but Everton always lose against Chelsea. Come to think of it, Everton often lose against us, but we are playing away from home. It's their new stadium, and they've kind of made it a bit of a fortress, really, tentatively saying that, but they haven't lost many games there. They've had a really good start to the season overall. They sit, ninth in the league, and David Moyes is doing really well. He knows the club inside out. I think they made some good signings. Jack Grealish has performed really well for them so far, and Diaye as well. So they've got a few players who know what they're doing. So it's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but we got to be ready for it, right? We need to, because, City probably are going to win their game. So we got to go into the game ready and prepared and going for it, right? Big game. They're all big at this stage of the season. Until you've got the title done and dusted, whoever it is that does that, everything's a big game, right? So we got to be ready for it against Everton. So let's have a little look at my starting 11 for Arsenal, what I think it's going to be. So I reckon it's going to be getting our strongest squad out there, to be honest. Raya is going to start in goal, no doubt. And then Calafiori should be back. He was suspended for the last game, and we missed him. He gives us so much, not just in defence, but also in midfield and attack. That guy pops up everywhere. He's always causing problems for the other team. So, do you know what I mean? Having him back in the starting 11 is going to be crucial. Miles Lewis-Skelly didn't even start against Thingy. He had to come on. So, I expect Calafiori to get the nod here. And then Saliba is back, so he's going to continue in central defence next to Nkapie. And then Timber is going to be playing a right back. We've got not many other options. The only other defender we've got to use is Miles Lewis-Skelly, really. Everybody else is injured. Ben White is out injured. Gabriel obviously out injured. But there's been some talk that he's on his way back. So hopefully it's not going to be too long before we see him. Hopefully beginning of January he should be getting back into the squad at least and trying to, get back into that first 11, because we've missed him. We've missed the guy, and he gives us so much leadership and so much solidity, and lets the rest of the players play free and just go and do their job, knowing that he's there behind them to clear up any mess. So going to be huge to have him back. But for the moment, it's going to be, Nkapie and Saliba playing that central midfield role. And then Rice, got to be back in the side. Zubimendi, got to be playing as well. He came off, he played a lot of minutes, and he didn't look too happy with himself when he came off against Wolves, but that's okay. Nobody covered themselves in glory in that game, to be honest, except own goals. That's our 2 goal scorers in that game. So hopefully we can get some Arsenal goal scorers in this game. So Rice and Zubimendi back in midfield, get them, they should be rested now, get them back working together. And then Ødegaard has got to come in. Eze has not played well in the last couple of games. The starts he's got ahead of Ødegaard. He hasn't really, imposed himself on the game like we thought he could, or we expect him to. So Odegaard's got to come back into the side. He's the captain, and he's going to have to be ready to perform and now start trying to take his game to the next level. You know, he's been back from injury for a little bit, and he should be raring to go. He's got to put in a captain's performance tomorrow and start, you know, knitting together the midfield and the attack and get everything working a little bit better. Speaking of the attack, Saka is going to continue on the right. Obviously, he was crucial in us getting that win against Wolves. His corner and his cross both caused problems and led to the own goals. So Saka definitely gets the start. For me, Trossard should come in. Martinelli has not been great the last couple of games either. You know, Martinelli is much more suited to the Champions League. I've said it before. And Trossard is much more suited to the Premier League. So get it back to that. Trossard should be coming back into the squad. He should be playing, starting ahead of Martinelli. And then Gyökeres has to continue up front. The guy's got to play himself into form. Havertz had a setback as well, so he's not going to be back until mid-January at the earliest. And we got to get Gyökeres scoring. We got to get him, you know, into positions. We've got to feed him the right balls, you know, feed the striker and he will score. So please, let's do that. I want to see some combination play working better between Odegaard and Gyökeres. Odegaard has the ability to put in those balls that Gyökeres can thrive off. They really need to start looking for Gyökeres more. Do you know what I mean? We really need to get him, really need to start playing to his strengths so that he's ready to help us in this next stage of the season. You know, he's back from injury, so time for him to start showing why we spent all that money on him. Do you know what I mean? It's time for everybody to start working together. So for me, it's going to be a crucial game for Odegaard. I think it's one of those games where he's going to need to step up. He really needs to show why he's the captain of Arsenal Football Club. Do you know what I mean? And Saka, I think, is going to have a good game against Everton, but Everton are no mugs. Do you know what I mean? Even though they lost their last game, they've been in pretty good form recently, do you know? So let's have a little look at the form table. Yeah, they've lost 2 of their last 5, so they've won 3. Not too dissimilar to our run. We lost, obviously, against Villa. We've won a couple of games since then, including the Champions League game against Club Brugge. We had that draw a little while back against Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? So hey, we need to win and we need to have a big performance. Like I said, we're playing at their new stadium, and so it's going to be an interesting one. I'm not really familiar with their new stadium. I haven't watched much of Everton, just, you know, some highlights and stuff like that. But Grealish has been a big player for them this season, so I think it's going to be a case that he's going to try and have an impact on the game, especially being a City boy. He's going to want to put one over on Arsenal, that's for sure, help out, you know, his fellow teammates back at Man City. Dewsbury Hall as well, dangerous player for them. Obviously Pickford, we know all about him, but the defence is what we can get at with Everton. They've conceded about as many goals as they've scored this season, so they're a little bit leaky at the back. Our defence, we've been conceding a few goals recently, you know, so hopefully we can tighten up. Saliba and Nkapie hopefully have, you know, figured out a few more things in training, and they're going to be a bit more solid as well, because that was a stupid goal to concede against Wolves. I don't want no more of that. I lost my head at that point, and so I don't want to be at that stage. We really need to shut them down. I think Dewsbury Hall and Jack Grealish, keeping them quiet is going to be super important, which means Timber is going to have a big game. He's going to be up against Jack Grealish, but for me, Timber's the better player, better defender than Jack Grealish is an attacker. But Jack Grealish has looked, you know, a bit more his old self playing at Everton. He's got a bit more freedom, you know, like he had when he was at Villa. So I think that's one of the reasons why he's performing as well as he has been. But it's going to be a tough game. But generally, we do well against Everton. It's a new stadium, so we don't know where I'll go on with that. But Arsenal, we can't be complacent. We've had a bit of a break. Hopefully, the players are now refreshed a little bit, you know. They got 2 days off to go chill out, be with their families, and that makes a big difference, you know, just to reset and be ready to go again. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough game, that's for sure. What do I think in terms of my prediction for the scoreline? You know what? I'm gonna go for 2-0. I think we can keep a clean sheet in this game, even though, like I said, Jack Grealish and Dewsbury Hall have been pretty good. But I think this is the game where maybe our defence plays a little bit more solid. Calafiori back in the side is going to be huge. Timber as well starting is a massive boost for us. So yeah, I think we can keep them quiet, and I fancy us to get a couple of goals. Gyökeres has to get on the score sheet. It's a perfect game for him. And Trossard, I fancy him to get a goal as well. So that's my prediction. 2-0 to the Arsenal. Clean sheet. Please, that's what I want from this game. We just need to get back to being solid and scoring goals and putting that pressure back on City. Because like I said, if they win their game, they're going to be top. And we're going to need to do something about that. So that's what I think is going to happen in the game. Why don't you let me know what you think? Put something in the comments. Let me know your prediction. And, you know, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, notifications so you can know when I'm back and when I drop a new video, all that kind of stuff. Going to be doing a watch along for the Everton game tomorrow. So don't miss that. And yeah. I will see you later. Going to do a weekend preview for all the other games. We've got a few big games, including Chelsea, Newcastle, Liverpool, Tottenham, United, Villa. It's a big weekend of football, people, and somebody's going to be dropping points. Better not be the Arsenal. So I will see you later on. Have a great day. Peace. Bye.